Hey guys, if you're preparing for a job interview in coming days, this video can be a game changer for you. In this video, we will talk about top 10 Excel skills that you need and that can be super helpful for you in your coming days.
Now here I have a small data, very small data actually, where I have a name of few companies, very small data. Let's start. First of all, to start with, I will convert my small data into a table. To convert it into a table, I will just click anywhere on this data and press Ctrl T from my keyboard. You will notice that it automatically selects the range where the data is filled, that is A1 to F8. Data is already filled and it is freezed. My table has headers. I have already clicked yes since my data has headers. I'll press OK. Now you might notice some difference. All my rows are changed. My alternate rows are blue in color and alternate are in white. Now what happened? Now my data is converted into an Excel table. Now what are the uses? Why it is important to change the data into an Excel table? First of all is the banded rows. Now here you can see my rows are different in color. Each alternate row is different. So this aesthetically makes the data more clear. I can find it easy to read when the rows are banded. Now the second benefit is the calculated columns. Let me show you something. Here I will add a column. Let's say I am adding a formula here. I am multiplying the two columns E and F. See, the formula is automatically copied till the end. I did not drag, I did not copy paste the formula. Here I have only 7 rows. Now what if I have hundreds of rows? So this becomes very easy. You just have to apply the formula at a single cell and it automatically gets copied till the end. Now the third benefit is whenever I add an item to this table, like here I am adding ICIC. Now I'll enter here two figures. Let's say for example 100 and here 20. Now this formula is automatically updated against ICIC Bank in column G. I did not drag, I did not press Ctrl D and I did not apply the formula again. Similarly, if I again enter these 5 items and randomly I enter some numbers here, let's say 12, 14, 29 and 50, the formula gets automatically updated. So this table has its capacity to update accordingly. It will automatically update its source, its field as per the data entered in this Excel sheet. Now the fourth benefit is, let's apply a formula of sum in this column. Now I have applied a formula of sum in column G. Now this formula ranges from G2 to G12. Now here I am getting a drop down. When I click on it, I get a number of mathematical formulas. Like here if I click on average, now this will give me an average of all these numbers. Similarly, if I click on minimum, it will give me the minimum number of this column, that is 348. Similarly, if I click on max, it will give me the maximum number of this column. So this becomes very easy. You don't have to type your formulas again and again. You can just switch between the formulas just with a click. So this is again a very big benefit. Now you can see this small blue color in the end of this data table. You can simply click and drag and change the data source location of this table. Now you will see that this formula is not overwritten. Rows have been inserted between 700 in this formula. These rows have been inserted. Similarly, if you again do it, this last total row will automatically be in the end and more rows will be inserted. Here we have a small data wherein I have given a few company names, the BSC code and a few details. Now in this first column, let's say I want to rename it as company's name. So I'll just select, I'll not select the header, I'll select A2 to A15 and I'll just simply go to the name box and I'll give it a name as company name. I'll press enter. Now see, this cell range is changed into company name. This is the most easy way to rename data. Now the second option is using the define name. I'll again select my column. I'll go to the define name option, formulas. I'll go to formulas and then I'll go to define name and I click on the define name. Here I can give a name. I'll rename it as company code. The scope, I can select it in the workbook. These are the other worksheets which are given in this workbook. So I'll define it in the workbook also only, which is correct. Refers to is the range where my data exists. Like here it is B2 to B15. So this is okay with me. I'll just press OK. Now this is called as the company's code. I have given name to these two columns. Similarly, I have 9 columns here in my data set. Now you must be thinking like I need to do this exercise 9 times to name my each and every column, but that's not the way of doing it. I'll tell you a shortcut that now I'm selecting the headers as well. I'll go to the formulas. I'll click on create from selection. Since my headers are in the top row, I'll deselect the left column and I'll press OK. Now all these columns have got their names on just a single click by using the create from selection. Now what if I need to edit, create or delete some named ranges? I'll just click on anywhere on this table and I'll go to named range. Now here are my 9 named ranges which we have just created. I can select any and I can edit it. I can change its name. I can change its location. I can also delete it by just pressing the delete button. So this is how we can edit, delete, and I can even create a new using this name manager. I'll close this menu. This is how we can create and edit the named ranges which we have already created. Now the fourth point is rules of creating a named range. Until now we have created named ranges. Now there are certain rules which you need to remember before creating a named range. First of all is no spaces in header row. Now each and every header row should not have a space between them, else while creating a named range the Excel will automatically convert the space into an underscore. Like here we have a few columns: NSE code, PSC code, current, space, price. Now let us see what it was renamed. See, my BSC code is converted into PSC underscore code. Current price is converted into current underscore price. Debt space to space equity was converted to debt underscore to underscore equity. Excel does not understand these spaces. It will automatically convert all the spaces to underscore. Now the second rule is no name references. Like you cannot give any cell reference as a name to your data. Like your defined name cannot be A1, B2, C3 or any other sort of cell location. The third rule is first letter of your named range has to be a letter, underscore or a backslash, else you are definitely going to get an error. The fourth and the last important rule is named ranges consider the upper and lower case as the same. Like if you have once given the name as sales underscore name, you cannot name another column as sales underscore name. For Excel, both are same. The uppercase and lowercase are the same. These are the 4 basic rules which you need to remember. Now we'll discuss about the benefits. What are the benefits of named range? See, the most important is like you do not need to remember the data locations. Like I do not need to remember where was the company names. I can simply go here and I can write company name. Excel has automatically taken me to the column where I had named it as company name. So this is the most easiest way to navigate. So I do not need to remember the tab name or data location in the workbook. Now the second thing is can be used in the formulas anywhere in the workbook. Anywhere is important. Like if I need to put a total of any of these columns in this sheet, I just simply need to remember the name of the named range. Like for an example, I will just put price underscore price to earning, enter. Let us check. Now the total of this column is 454, which is correct. I do not need to give the cell reference. I do not need to put a formula here, then navigate to the data column and select this range. So this is very easy and very quick. You just need to remember the price to earning. Another way is, in case you do not remember the name of your column, you just have to put starting word. It will give this current price. It will give the name of all the ranges you have created which have the word price in it. Like here we have price to earning, current price. So you can use this as a reference. Another simple way of doing is start here and click on use in formula. Here you will get the list of all the named range which are active in this workbook. Now here I'll select price to earning and I'll press enter. This is another way of doing it. Now the third benefit is easy to understand for the user or while revisiting the formula. Now for a layman, like most of my audience are the people which are not well educated in Excel. They cannot understand the complex formulas. When I am adding multiple columns and I'm doing multiple calculations in a formula, they usually are not able to read it. So is equal to sum of this column or simple sum of this. So I believe this formula is easy to read, is easy to understand for my audience, and also while revisiting after a month or two, it's very easy for me to revive what I had done the last time. So this is quite interesting and quite easy while using this named range, especially in the large data set where you have a large number of data and large number of columns. Now the last thing which we'll discuss is the dynamic named range. Now here let's say I have put a formula of price to earning. And now what if I add 2 rows here? Now this value should automatically be changing, but it is not. See, my total has to be 517, but it is reflecting 453 since it is not adding up these two values which we added in the end. In order to solve this problem, we can convert our name range to dynamic name range. Dynamic, as the name suggests, it will automatically change and update my formula. Now to do this, you just simply need to remember a formula. We will be using index and count A. I'm copying this formula here. I'll just go to name manager. I'll go to price to earning. And I'll copy this formula here, press OK and close. Now this price to earning is now a dynamic range. See, my total is updated. Now what if I add another 2 columns here and copy this, paste it here. This is again updated. If I delete one of my row, it is again updated. Now this is how it works. Now what count A does, count A gives the count of the cells which are non-blank in a given column. Like here when I putting this formula, count A in this G column, it will revert as 17. Now when this second part of the formula, this one, this will revert as 17. Now my complete formula becomes from range starting from G1 to index G17. So my formula will automatically apply to G1 to G17 range in this column. Once I add more two columns here, now my non-blank cells will be 19. Then my count A in this range will be 19 and my formula will automatically become from G1 to G19. Here I have a small data set from column A to F where I have taken a sales of some products in some country for a few months. Now initially there are three rules when you create a pivot table. First of all the column headers should be there. Now if I delete my header product from column D, I will not be able to insert a pivot table. I will get an error. Therefore, all the columns must have a header. Now the second rule is there should be no subtotal column in between these columns. Suppose I enter a blank column or a sum total or a subtotal column between C and E, my total numbers will not be correct. Similarly, there has to be no subtotal row between any of the row, and there has to be no blank row between any of my two rows. My data has to be in a correct format before inserting a pivot table. Now first of all, to create a pivot table, I'll first convert my data into an Excel table. Now how I will do it, I will simply click anywhere on this data range and press Ctrl T from my keyboard. Now this range is coming from A1 to F25, which seems okay. My table has headers. Yes, my table has headers, and I'll press OK. Now you will find a difference in the appearance of my data. In case I don't like this blue lines, blue and white lines, I'll simply go to light or I'll clear the format from here. Now what is the benefit of converting a data range into a table? I have made a separate video on data tables. I have also shared the link below in the description of this video. You can refer and check it. Now to insert a pivot table, I'll first of all click on column A. I'll go to insert. Now here I have an option of pivot table and recommended pivot tables. First of all, I'll click on recommended tables. Now here are the pivot tables which are suggested by the Excel based on my data. Now the first pivot table which is suggested by the Excel is the sum of the revenue based on the products. Now the second is sum of the sales by the products. Similarly, I can scroll down and I can select any of the pivot table which suits my requirement. Now here, just for an example, I'll select sum of sales by product here. Now my pivot table is created in another sheet. My data was in sheet 1 and my pivot table has been created in sheet 2. Another way of creating a pivot table is I'll simply delete this sheet now. I'll go to sheet 1. The keyboard shortcut to create a pivot table is Alt N V, and here I'll get a dialog box, or you can simply click on insert and pivot table. You will get the same dialog box here. Now here I have a few options. Since I have converted my data to an Excel table, now here the range is changed to my table, that is table number 1. Now here I get an option of new worksheet and existing worksheet. Now in case I want to insert this pivot table in a new worksheet, I'll click on new worksheet. And if I want to insert a pivot table in my existing worksheets somewhere here, I'll click on existing worksheet, click here and choose a location, let's say J4, and I'll press OK. Now my pivot table is created. Now this is the raw pivot table. This is a blank pivot table which has been inserted. Now let's say I need the sales against each salesperson. So I'll just drag my salesperson to my rows, that is here, and I'll put my sales in values. Since sales is a number, so I'll put it into values. So here I get a very basic pivot table. Now for an example, I want to see the sales of this salesperson for particular two products, that is cake and breads. there are two options for doing this. The quick one is you can simply drag this product to filters. Here you will get an extra tab. You can click on this drop down, select multiple items, and you can select cake and breads. Now this is the sales against these salespersons for these particular items. This is a very quick option. Other option is you can simply drag this product to rows like this. Now what you need to do is you need to convert this pivot table to a simpler form. Just right click, go to pivot table options, go into display and click on classic pivot tables. Okay. Now here you can select breads and cake. You will get the same number, but this will surely make the pivot table complex when you have large variety of columns, 2 or more columns. So an easy option is by just adding these product to your filters. Now this is the very convenient option. Now since we have created a very basic pivot table, now we'll go to the formatting. You can click anywhere on this pivot table, go to design and choose any of the layout that meets your criteria, that suits your dashboard, that suits the color theme of your report. Let's say I'll go for this dark color, dark brown. Oh my god. I'll go for this dark brown color here. This looks very bright. Let's change it to some lighter shade, that is green. Now this is good. Okay, now here I can change the formatting. I can even go and deselect the row headers. The header column will be gone. The column, it is gone. Similarly, I can click on banded rows to get my banded rows. I'll deselect it, banded columns. Since we have one column, so this will not be visible. Now another thing that you should know is here I have a grand total. Let's add country with this salesperson here. Okay, now here I'm getting the subtotal of country wise, like China, India total, Italy total, Malaysia total, and this does not hold any relevance. Now I want to remove these totals. How I can do is I can click on my pivot table and I can click on here subtotals, design, subtotals, do not show subtotals. If I click on this option, all my subtotals will be gone. Now this looks cleaner. China, Tom, we have only one salesperson in China who is selling breads and cake. India, we have James. Similarly, I can even click on show all subtotals at the bottom of the group. Now similarly, I can play with the grand totals. I can simply off for rows and columns. My grand total column will go. I can even select it on for rows and columns for both, and I can select either on for rows and on for columns as well. Now this again depends on my requirement. Now here are a few layout options which you should try once you have your data. Like here, if I click on compact form, now my salesperson were in a separate column which are now merged under this country. So this is the compact form. Show in outline form, again these are separated. Show in a tabular form, this is a small table. My data is displayed in a small tabular form, and this looks much cleaner as these consumes lesser space. This was all about inserting a pivot table and customizing a pivot table. Now another thing is about this field list. Here I have a field list. Now here I have sum of sales. I'll select all of my products here. Now I can change the sum of sales. I'll go to value field settings. I can change it to count, average, minimum, maximum product, and I have a lot of options which I can choose. Like here my sale is 80,647. I can simply change it to average. Now I'll get an average of each of the salesperson in this particular country. Similarly, I can go to minimum. These are the few options which you can play around as per your requirement. Now another thing, since we had converted our data to a data table, let's see an example. Now let us see why we did so. Now here I'll insert two columns. Let's say I've inserted these two columns. I have named them ABC, XYZ, products, QW, and okay. Now I'll simply refresh my pivot table and I got these two products updated in my pivot table. I did not have to update its source data range since my data was converted into an Excel table. So this is a big benefit. Like you don't have to again and again click on pivot table, analyze tab, change data source and update your region. And now I have again deleted these two columns. I'll again refresh and these products are gone. Now another thing that you should know is how to sort your data in a pivot table. Now let's make it a little smaller for a better understanding. I'll remove the salesman. Here. Now I have got the data of sales against my each country name. Now let's say I want to sort this data based on highest and lowest values. I'll simply click anywhere here on this number, go to home, sort from largest to smallest. Now my data is sorted from largest to smallest. Another way of doing this is just right click. Here you will get an option of sort. You can sort from largest to smallest. Similarly, if you want to sort these countries based on A to Z, you can simply go and click on A to Z or Z to A. Now another thing that you should know is how to delete your pivot table. Let's say I want to delete this pivot table. I'll simply click on my pivot table, go to pivot table analysis, click on clear and clear all. This will delete my pivot table entirely. My pivot table is gone. Now we'll create a drop-down list about the nature of these companies in column B. I have listed a few categories here in column H. Now we'll create a drop-down list of these categories in column B. First of all, select the area, select the cells where you want to create the drop-down list. Here I have selected B2 to B15. Now I'll go to data. Here, this is the button of the data validation. I'll click on this little drop-down arrow and click on data validation. Now I'll create a list. I will change this any value to list since I'll add this list to my drop-down. Now for the source, select the location. Here I will select H3, H9 and press enter. Now my drop-down list is created in column B. This is the easiest way of creating a drop-down list. Now here comes a challenge. What if I need to add an additional row above ICICI Bank? Let's say Bharti Exa. Now you will see that the drop-down list already exists against this cell I created. But when I click on this drop-down list, here comes a blank space. Since I entered this cell, this row above ICICI Bank, that is row 8, the space was created in this list. So now you can face this problem if your source data and your actual data are in the same sheet. Now in order to prevent this, here's a solution. Copy these categories to another sheet, which can be your data backup or data source sheet, like here I have done in book 5. Now change these cells to Excel table. How you can do this? Press Ctrl T. Here I have pressed Ctrl T and it will automatically select the cells which are filled with some data. Here please ensure that you have tick marked this header cells. I have done OK and press OK. Now my cells are converted into range. Now the benefit of converting this into range I'll show you in the next step. The next thing you need to do is select this and name it something, like I have given it the name of nature. Now going back to the example here, now we'll create the same drop down list here. Select the C2 to C16 cell, again go to data, here click on data validation, list, and in source type the name that you gave. Here we gave the name nature. Now press OK. Now the drop down list is created. Now why did we convert this cells data to Excel table? Here I'll show you something. Now I am adding again a category into this, like home loan, banking, retail. Now I have entered 3 more entries, and you might notice that this is automatically changing. It is now becoming a part of this my table. Now if I go to my previous sheet, now I will do nothing and I will just check this drop down list. It includes all the 3 options that I included in the last. It means when you change your data into a table, it automatically updates its ranges. So there is no need to refresh or go to data validation and update your source when you have used a name range and converted your data to a table. Now again I'll use another example. Here this is a very basic example. Here I have listed a name of few students. There are 10 names. Now I need to enter pass or fail against each name. Now I'll again select the location. I'll go to data, click on this drop down data validation. Again I'll use list, and here I'll type like pass comma fail and press enter. Now see, my drop down list is created for 2 categories, that is pass and fail. Now this can be very easy. Here again you don't need a source data, you have just typed it in the source, so you don't have to remember that where was my data backup or where was my source sheet. So it's very easy, you have to just type. But remember, you cannot use this typing method in this example since here are a big names in the category. Typing pass and fail is very easy, but you cannot type all these names in this source data. So now according to your data, you can choose the method how you will create and what method suits your data, suits your requirement to create a drop down list. Now here for an example, I have the sales for 4 quarters for 5 of my products in column B, C, D, E and F. Now to insert the sparkline, I'll simply click on my sheet, anywhere on my sheet actually, and go to insert, and here I have this sparkline options. Now I have 3 types of charts in my sparklines: line, column and win and loss. Now initially we'll start with the line chart. I'll click on line chart. Now here I'll get a dialog box where I have 2 options: data range and location range. Data range is the range against which I need the chart in my column G, and location range is the location where I want the sparkline. Now here one benefit of sparkline is that you can select all the 4 quarters to create sparkline in one shot. Like here for this data range, I'll select sales from Q1 to Q4. There's no need to select the product, you have to only select the numbers. So I have selected C3 to F7. Now the location range, the location where I want my sparklines is G3 to G7, and I'll press OK. My chart is created. Now if I talk about its appearance, like these are very thin lines and not visible enough, I can simply go to design and I can choose any of the color. Like here I'll go for darker gray. I click on dark gray. I'll go to sparkline color and increase its weight to 1.5. Now these are the thick lines which are visible. Also you can customize this color. Just go to sparkline color and you can change it to orange, green or whatever color suits your report or dashboards. So here I'm again changing it to darker gray or black. Now another thing in formatting is, like, these are simply the line charts. You can change these to column chart by just one click. Just click on column and the charts, the line chart will be converted to my column chart. Now here are a few options. Like in show, I have these 6 options, out of which 5 are activated in column charts and 6 of the options will be activated when I convert this to line chart markers. Now talking about the column chart, high point, when I tick this high point, all the columns with the highest value will appear in some different color. Like I can change these colors. I'll just click on marker color, high point. I can change this color from red to green or blue. Like here I'm changing it to blue color. So my higher points are changed to blue color. Similarly, I'll untick it and I'll tick on the low points. Now my low points here, like here I have -10. It is red in color. Here it is 17. I think it is not visible enough. So it is appearing in a different color. Similarly, the negative points, they are again appearing in red colors. I will change this color to, let's say, some brighter yellow color. So it is again appearing in yellow color. The first point, all the first columns of each of my chart will be in different color. Similarly, the last point. Now the another option was markers. Since markers are usually used in the line chart, so let's convert it into a line chart first. Now I tick mark on the markers. Now I've got these small marker points. You can see it here like this. I've got the small marker point at each of this data point in my line chart. Now what if I want to add a few values in column G? I'll simply insert a column here. Let's say I'm adding a total of from Q1 to Q4. This is the total. Now I don't have to create these sparklines again. I'll just simply click on this sparkline. I'll go to design, edit data. Now here I get two options: edit group location and data, edit single sparklines. In case I wanted to add this number into a single sparkline, I would have selected this edit single sparkline data, but I need this column to be added into all my sparklines. So I'll just click on this edit group location and data. Data range, I'll update this data range from C3 to G7. My sparkling location has automatically been updated, so I'll just press OK. Now my this 144 number has been updated in this sparkline. For a change, let's try this out. I'll just move it to 0. Yes, it is changing. It is updated. Now one more thing. In case I hide all these columns with my data and I only want these sparklines, let's see, I'll hiding these columns with my data. My sparklines are gone. Here's a trick. In case you want your sparklines to be there without any data, just click on the sparklines, go to design, click on edit data, click on hide and empty cells, and just tick mark show data in hidden rows and column and click OK. Now you will be able to hide your data rows. Just click on hide and your sparklines will not go anywhere. The last and the most important thing is, how do you delete these sparklines in case you want to delete these? You cannot simply select them and press delete from your keyboard. These sparklines will not go. So in order to delete these sparklines, just click on these sparklines, go to design tab and go to this clear selected sparklines and clear selected sparklines group. Here I want to delete the group, so I'll click on clear selected sparkline groups. So all my sparklines are gone. Conditional formatting helps you to format your cells based on certain conditions. Now in this video, we will discuss about basics of conditional formatting. There are a few advanced tricks where you can format your cells using some formulas, which we will discuss in another video. Now in this video, we'll only discuss a few basics which you can see on the screen: highlight cell rules, top bottom rules, data bars, color scales, and icon sets. Now to start with, first of all, I have a data set. Let's highlight this value column and see what we got. I'll click on home, conditional formatting. Now my first option is highlight cell rules. Now these options are used to highlight my cells based on these criteria. We'll discuss them one by one. First of all is greater than. When I click on greater than, I get this dialog box where I get an option. Here I'll write a number. Let's say I write 200. Now here when I write 200, now all my numbers which are greater than 200 in my selected cells is highlighted in default format. I can even change this: yellow fill, green fill, or custom. In case you do not like these colors, you can change them as per your report or dashboard. Here I'll go to fill. I'll change this color to blue, let's say. I'll click on OK and I'll click on OK. Now all my numbers which are greater than 200 are highlighted in blue color. Now to jump to the next option, we'll first clear this formatting here. I'll just select this column in this area. I'll go to conditional formatting, click on clear rules. Now here I have two options: clear rules from selected cells, clear rules from the entire worksheet. Since I have selected my cells, I'll just click on clear rules from selected cells. Again I go to conditional formatting. Now my next option is less than. Similarly, I can highlight the cells which are less than, let's say for example 200. Now all my numbers which are less than 200 are highlighted in the default red and pink color. Again I'll clear rules. Now the third type is between. Now here I can highlight the cells which are between a specific number. Let's say between 200 to 500. There's no such number. Between 200 to, no, let's say between 100 to 200. 200. Now there are two numbers which are between 100 to 200 and they are highlighted. Similarly, I have an option equal to, which you guys must try. Now the next thing is text that contains. Now here I have text in this column B. I'll select this column. I'll go to conditional formatting. Text that contains. Now let's say I'll type here a company. Sorry, spellings. Company. Click OK. Now all my company names where the word company exists have been highlighted. This is pretty easy. Now again the next option is date. Now I have dates in column A. I'll select column A. Go to conditional formatting. Date occurring yesterday. Let's say here I'll go to this month. Yes, this month. Now here I have a few dates which are in the same month, April. Since today this is April going on, so these are the few dates which occurs in the same month. So I'll click OK and these will be highlighted. Similarly, the next option is the duplicate values. Now let's say I'm selecting this complete data. Now I need to find the duplicate values, the duplicate company names which exist in this data. So I'll just select the complete data set. I'll go to conditional formatting, highlight the cells which have duplicate values. Click OK. Now since I selected this complete data set, now these two company names are occurring twice. These two numbers in this column are occurring twice and even thrice as well. Sales, again these two numbers are duplicate, and here these two numbers are again duplicate. So these are highlighted. Now you can even create more rules which we'll discuss in another video. Next option is top 10 items. When I click on top 10 items, since I have only I think 9 values, so when I'll type 4, all the top 4 values based on the cell values is highlighted. Similarly, I can highlight bottom 3, 4 or 5 items. Click OK and these are highlighted, 29, 30 and 20. Now next option is top 10% and bottom 10%. Now you will notice that when I click on top 10% and I type here 10, only one value is highlighted. Similarly, if I type 5%, only one value is highlighted. And in case I type 30, two values are highlighted. Now let's understand how this works. Since I have these 9 values, like 9 cells, and I am trying to find out top 5%, it will simply multiply 5% with 9. Now this is less than 1, so only one value will be highlighted. Similarly, when I am typing 30%, now 30% into 9 is 2.7, so it is highlighting two values. So similarly, when I will go for 50%, it will highlight 4 values. Now let's try this out. I'll select this, go to conditional formatting, top 10%, now 30%, it is highlighting 2 values. Similarly, when I go for 50, it is highlighting 4 values. Now this is how it works. Same goes with the bottom 10%. Similarly, we have 2 more options, above average and below average. Now the next option is data bars. Now here are a few options for the data bars. Let's try all these out. When I select this column C, which has some numbers, and I'll click on some random data bars, let's say red. Now the cells which have the highest values are like filled properly, like 1395 is the highest value, so it is filled completely with pink color. Similarly, the lowest value is least filled in. I can change this color to blue, and even I can go to more rules and change this appearance. Similarly, I have this gradient fill and a few colors and this solid fill. Same goes to color bars. Now in color bar I get these three options. Let's remove this formatting. I'll go to conditional formatting, color scale. Now in color scales I get three colors. Highest are green in color and the bottom is red. Similarly, I have many more options. I can select either of them as per my requirement and as per my likings. Similarly, I have icon set. In case you don't want to fill your cells with different colors, you can simply use these icon sets, like green color for the highest value, red arrow pointing downwards for the lowest value. Let's throttle this down. I'll click on conditional formatting, icon sets. Now here are a few options which you can try. This is not looking good at all. This seems good, but everything is red. So you can try all this out and see which suits your report and which suits your data very well. So these are the few basic options which you need to apply and which you need to try at least once in your reports. These actually makes your data, your reports looks aesthetically better. Here I have a small data where I have a few products, their ratings, the sales and revenue in different zones. Now I'll create a pivot table. On this screen, I'll click on existing and select a location here. Okay, now I'll put zone, the product and the sales. This is a very simple pivot table I have created, just a very basic example of a slicer. First of all, I'll change the layout of this pivot table for my convenience. I'll go to pivot table options, display and display classic. Okay, this looks great. Now what if I ask you to filter your data based on a few products like butter and chocolate cake? Let's say I'll select here butter and chocolate cake. This is the way which usually we use, like we usually filter our data. Now I'll show you how we can filter the data using a slicer. I'll select all. Now I'll go to insert and I'll insert a slicer based on my product. I'll click on product here. These are all the columns which I have in my data: zone, product, status, sales and revenue. Now I'll click on product and click OK. Now this is what I have got. These are the small buttons. I can scroll down, I can increase the size as per my convenience, as per appearance. See, now I want to sort my data based on the chocolate cake. I'll just click on chocolate cake and the data is filtered. Now I need to see brown bread. I'll click on the brown bread and see my data is again filtered. Now what if I need to filter two products? I'll just press Ctrl and select the products, butter and chocolate cake. See, the highlighted buttons are the filtered. Like here I have filtered the data based on butter and chocolate. Now this is one pivot table and one slicer. Now what if I need to filter my data based on two columns, product and status? Now I'll click on this pivot table. I'll go on insert and insert a pivot table based on status now. Yes. See, now I have two slices, product and status. I have deselected everything. Now see, I need to see the average products. I've clicked on average and I got the sales of all my average products. Now I click on below average. I've got the sales of all the products which are below average. Similarly, I'll click on good and I'll get the sales of the products which are good, and I'll clear the filters. Now what if I want to filter the data based on a particular product under average? So here I'll click on average. Now I have 6 products which fall under the average category. Now I'll click on butter. So this is the sales of the butter which falls under average category. Now in order to clear my filters, I'll just click here, clear filters, or I'll press Alt C. Done. Now let's see another product under the category of below average. I'll click below average here, and here are the products which are blue highlighted actually. Now all these products fall under the below average category. Similarly, if I click on good, there is only one product, brown bread, which falls under good category. Now here one thing you should know, now all these products, breadsticks, biscuits, butter, which are light blue in color, they do not fall under the category of good. There is only one product, brown bread, which falls under the category of good. So these buttons will not be highlighted in any way. So if you go and click on average, there's only one category, biscuits, which do not fall under average, since it is not, the color of biscuits is different from the others. It's lighter in shade. So this is how you know which product doesn't fall under this average. Now we have created 2 slicers to filter one single pivot table. Now we'll create 2 pivot tables and connect both the pivot tables to a single slicer. Now let's start. First of all, I am deleting this slicers. Yes. Okay. Now I'm again creating a pivot table. Okay. Here I am putting sales and revenue. Now here I am adding the grade and revenue. Okay. Okay, for the convenience, let us also put the zone. Yes. Okay. Now here we have status, zone and total. Now I'll insert a slicer on my first pivot table. This. I'll go to insert. I'll insert a slicer based on zone. Done. And this is my slicer for pivot table 1. See, it is only working on pivot table 1. Clearing. Now we will be controlling both the pivot tables with this single slicer zone. Let's see how. I'll just click on zone. I'll go to options. I'll go to report connections. Now see, this zone report connection, now this zone slicer is only applicable to pivot table 2, which is in column H, I and J. Now in order to connect it to the pivot table 2, I'll just have to click on pivot table 3 and click OK. Now this slicer is connected to both the pivot tables. Let's see how this goes. I'll click on east. Both the pivot tables are filtered. I'll click on north. Both the pivot tables have the data filtered based on the location on the zone. Let's change the appearance. Okay, this is better. Now click on south. Again, both the pivot tables are filtered. Similarly west. And similarly, if I need to filter based on 2 locations, I'll just press Ctrl and I'll select the locations. My data is filtered just on a single click. This is very user friendly actually. Okay, now what about the appearance? The customization. Yes, you can customize your slicers based on your layout of your report, on your dashboards, based on the data. Like here I have only 4 options, so a small slicer will work. What if I have, I'll create a slicer, let's say based on product, where I have so many products here. I'll click insert based on my product. Now see, I have so many products. See, here I have 7 products. Now what about the customization? Let's make it beautiful to some extent. First of all, you can resize it as per your convenience, as per your space on your worksheet, on your dashboard, on your report. So once I reduce the height, I'll automatically get a drop down. This is not like, I don't like, personally, this is my personal opinion, I don't like this drop down. I want all my options should be visible on my screen. So I'll just make it to this size. Okay. Now second option that I can do is, if I need to adjust it to my slicer 1, let's say here. Now this, okay. What I'll do is, I'll go to options, I'll increase the columns. Column 3 and 4 columns here. I can increase the number of columns, column 1, column 2, column 3 and column 4. I can increase the height, I can increase the width of my buttons just to fit it into my screen. This is again very easy and very, I'm enjoying it, doing it. Just clicking here. Okay. Now what about the colors, color scheme? Here my pivot table is blue and everything is like blue and white, so I'm not liking it. Let's click on this product and just try to change the theme. This one, no, this is not looking nice. I think this will work to some extent. Okay, this is, okay, this will work. Okay. You can even click on new slicer style and you can customize it as per your report. We'll discuss it in another video. Okay, one more thing I need to tell you. You can even change the settings. You can just right click, go to slicer settings, see. Here the caption is product. I can even change it to, let's say, product range and just click OK. Product range. Product has been updated to product range. Similarly, I can even remove this caption. Okay. Now I have only the buttons. Again, I'll go to slicer settings. I'll display the header. Now I can even sort these options in ascending or descending order, or the custom layout. Like if I do it ascending Z2A, my list is sorted. Previously breadsticks was the first option I was getting, but now see, it's descending Z2A. Fruity bread is my first option now. Now how do we delete this slicer? You just go to the slicer, press the delete button on your keyboard, else you can just right click and remove the product range. Now text to column is used to split your column into two separate columns. Like for an example, here I have a few names given in column A. These are total 10 names. Now here you will see that the first name and the last name are separated by space. What if I need to separate the first name and the last name into two columns? I cannot use any formula since the length of the first names is not the same. There is no symmetry between their names. I can do it by using text to columns. First of all, I'll select this names, the range of the data. I'll go to data and click on text to columns. Now you will get a dialog box open. Here you have two options, delimited and fixed width. Now I'll click on delimited since my names are separated by a space. You will always click on delimited if your data is separated by some special character, a space, ampersand, and slash, anything like that. So I'll click on delimited. I'll click on next. Now here I have a few delimiters like tab, semicolon, comma, space, or other something. Now here I have space which separates my first name and my last name. So I'll click on space and then untick other. Move this Yes. Now you will see a column has been created between first name and the last name. Now I'll click OK. Here I can select the destination where I want my new columns to be. In case I keep it as it is, like A2, my first name will be copied in column A and my last name will be moved to B column. Now I need my A column as it is and I need my first name and last name into column B and column C. So I'll change this location. I'll simply click on this arrow, select B2 and press finish. My names are separated and my new columns are created in column B and column C. So this was example 1. Now we'll see how can we segregate our data when like they have a special character in between them. Like here, these are the same names, but I have added a few numeric at the rate of some numeric numbers. Now we'll again try this. I'll select these names and go to text to column. Again delimited. Next. Now here I'll untick space and click on other and add ampersand and add it. Now see, a column has been added between the numeric and the names. My first name and last name are not separated here since I have not tick marked the space. Let's see what happens if I tick mark on the space. Now my first name, last name and the numeric numbers are separated. In case I untick this space, my first name and last name will remain in the same column as you can see here. And if I tick mark on space, my first name, last name and the numeric numbers are separated since I have also added at the rate here. I press next and I'll change this location to G2 and press finish. Now my first name, last name and these numeric numbers are separated. Now what if I want to add a column at a fixed interval? Let's say I'll copy these names here. I'll go to text to column. Now I want to add a column at a fixed point for each and every name. I'll click on fixed width. I'll click on next. Now this is a preview, like these are the columns. Now when I click anywhere here, a column will be added. Since I created a column by clicking after first 4 letters of my first name, my name will be divided into 2 columns. First column will have the first 4 letters and the rest of the name will be shifted to the other column. Let's see. I can also like double click it and take it off. Now I'll click after first 3 letters here. I'll press next and choose a location again here. Press finish. My first 3 letters are separated and the rest of the name is split into another column. Now this is how you can separate your text into 2 columns based on the delimiter or based on a fixed length. Go to special menu is used to go to some specific sort of cells which contain some value, some formula, some data validation or which have some specific type of formatting. Now let's see how we can use it. First of all, press Ctrl G from your keyboard. You will get a go to menu. Click on the special. Now here are the few options which we are going to discuss today in this video. Now the first option is notes. Now if I click on notes, I'll click OK. Now all my cells which have notes mentioned will be highlighted. Like here I have A5 and A10 and both of them are selected. I can either highlight them or I can change the font size, font color, and I can even change the font type. I can format these 2 cells based on anything. Now this is the quickest way to reach to the cells which have notes mentioned. Now let's see the next option. The next option we have is constants. Now when I click on constants, all these values are activated. First of all, I'll select numbers. When I click OK, Now all my numbers which are constant, which will not change and which will not have any impact in case I change any of my other column. In simple words, which does not have any formulas, which are as it is simple numbers in my data, are selected. Like you can see, these numbers does not contain any formula, so these are constant. Similarly, current price, this column does not have any formula, so this is again a constant. Again I press on Ctrl G, go to special, go on constant. Similarly, I click on text. Now all the text which are not dependent on any other column and will not change are again selected. In the same way, we have options for logicals and errors. Now the next option is formulas. When I click on formulas, again I'm getting these 4 options. Now let's start with numbers. Now all these numbers which have formulas behind are selected. Now this units, this has a formula, this column was selected. Let's again select the formula numbers. Sorry. Okay. Now this errors column, except these two, everything has the formulas under. This value column has formulas. This array table has formula under, so these all are highlighted. Similarly, I'll go to text. Now here I have added a text formula which is upper. I have converted all my A2 column to the capitals, which is again a text formula. So my column I is again selected. In the same way, I have the logical. Now here I have used a logical formula, that is AND, to get this result. So this column is highlighted. In the same way, errors. Now my column with errors will be selected. Now here I have only 2 cells which have errors, so these 2 are selected. Now I go to special again. The next option is blank. When I click on blanks, since I have not selected a particular region from my sheet, now all the blank cells from my sheet will be highlighted. If I press OK, now everything which is blank is selected. Now I only needed the blank columns in this data, so I'll select my data, go to press Ctrl G, go to special, and I'll select blanks. Now only these 2 cells which are blank are selected. Similarly, next is the current region. When I click on the current region, it will select all the cells which contains the data. Now this is one data table from A1 to L13. So this has selected a particular region in which my cursor was. In the same way, now this I have created this array. Now let's again go to special, selecting current array. This will select my region of this array. Now this array started from D21 and it's ranged from I25, so everything is selected. Now for the next option, we have objects. When I click on objects, now this ExcelChamps logo is selected. Since this is an object, this is an image which I had pasted, so this object is selected from my complete sheet. Now the next option is row difference. For this I've created a data here. I'll select the complete data. I'll go to Ctrl G, special, and select row differences. Now what is a row difference? A row difference will highlight the cells where my number does not match the rows. Like here it is 120, 120, C, D is again 120, but in E column the value changes. So it has highlighted E column. Similarly in the row 3, the value in H column changed to 100 from 110. So H3 cell is again selected, like here. Same goes with the columns. I'll select this data, Ctrl G, special, and column differences, and yellow. Yes, again these 2 cells where they change the value have been highlighted, have been actually selected, and we have highlighted them into yellow color. Now the next option is precedence. Okay, when I click on this, again direct only and all levels is activated. When I click on precedence, now my cursor was on column K at K2 cell. You can notice that 10% came from two columns, that is E2 and H2, these two cells. When I go to special and click on precedence, these two cells will be selected. This means that this number is derived from these two numbers, precedence. Now if I click on precedence and select on all levels, this will again select F2. This means that one of these two numbers is dependent on this F. Now let's see how. Now my H column is dependent on E and F. Now when I select on all levels, it has given me a chain that my 10% has come from 1912 and 1917, whereas my 19117 has come from these two columns. So it has selected all the cells which resulted in 10% of value. Yeah. So it has selected all the cells at each level from where this 10% has come. Same goes with the dependents. Like if I click, see my cursor is at column A, I'll select on dependents, direct only, no cell will be selected since I have not used this 10% anywhere. But since this has come from E2 and H2, when I click on H2 and I go to special, dependents, direct only, now again my 10% is selected. This means that my 10% is dependent on this cell value. Similarly, if I go to dependents at all levels, again it's only the 10% since only one cell is coming from H2. Now go to special. The next option is the last cell. Now in this worksheet, let's say I'll go to Control G, special, last cell, OK. Now this has selected my cell number L39 since this is the last cell of this worksheet. So it has selected the L39 cell. Now the next option is visible cells only. Now first of all, let's copy this table to another worksheet. Let's say I've copied it here. Now suppose I am hiding these few columns and I need to copy this table here. Now my hidden rows, which were like from 4th to 9th, are again visible here. Now in order to avoid this, what I can do is I'll select this, Control G, special, visible cells only, press OK, Control C and Control V. Now my hidden cells are not copied. This will help me to select the cells which are not hidden, which are only visible on my screen. So this is how you can use this option. Now the next option is conditional formats. Now all my cells which have conditional formatting will be highlighted. I'll press OK. Now here I have two options, all and same. All means like all the cells which have some sort of conditional formatting will be highlighted, and when I click on same, all the cells with the same kind of conditional formatting will be highlighted. So either way I select any of the two, it is going to select the same cells. Press OK. Now here I have applied conditional formatting to column D. In the same way, when I go to special data validation, again I am getting two options, all and same. Now here I have applied only one kind of data validation. So again, all will highlight all types of data validations that you have applied to this data table, and same will select these cells with the same type of data validation. So I'll press OK. So here it has selected me column L where I had some sort of data validation applied. To start with, I'll select the complete table. I'll click on A1 cell and press Ctrl A from my keyboard, and my complete data cell will be selected. This bottom button given in the end is called the quick analysis tool. The keyboard shortcut for this analysis tool is Ctrl Q, which can be used. Now here when I click on this button, I will get a few options for formatting charts, totals, tables and sparklines. Now if I need to format my data, I'll first click on data bars. This will give me an insight how my data will look once I apply this data bars to it. Then I'll go for color scale, which is obviously looking much better. Now then I go for icon set. This is how my data set will look once I apply icon set. Greater than, I can filter my data based on any number. Here we have, let's say, for example, I'm applying this for 10,000. There's only one number which is greater than 10,000. I'll press OK and this filter will be applied. Again, I'll click on this quick analysis tool for clear formats. All my formatting will be cleared. In the similar way, I can use and highlight the top 10 percentages of the numbers in the complete data set. Now the second option is charts. The Excel will itself analyze my data and give me some options in charts based on my data. Now this might not fit into my data, so I'll have to use my judgment, which table is much more suitable for my data. Stacked column and many more charts. Now the third option is totals. Now if I click on sum, it will sum the total numbers month-wise in the row number 17th. Similarly, averages, count, it will count the number of the cells filled in my column. Percentage total, running totals, and sum. These are the few options which are like given on a one quick button. Now the next is the tables. Now this is the blank pivot table. If I click on it, it will create a blank pivot table, which is also like very quick. Last option is sparklines. This will give me a small sparkling in the column L in the form of line chart, in the form of the column chart, in the form of win and loss. So this tool is a great savior when you are running short of time. So that is why it is named as the quick analysis tool. I hope you like it and you will use it in your daily life.